This is the story of London's most notorious female gangster. Linda Calvey is an English former criminal, primarily known for carrying out armed robberies and being sentenced to life in prison for the murder of her lover. Calvey, now aged 75, was a feared criminal during the 1980s and early 1990s. She grew up in East London, where she explained criminal activity was not uncommon. However, she managed to avoid it until her 20s. Linda first got involved in crime after marrying her first husband, Mickey Calvey, at age 22. She met him just after he had been released from prison, having served 8 years for armed robbery, subsequently becoming involved with his work and assisting him and his friends with their crimes. At first, Calvey was her husband's getaway driver, but she eventually started wielding guns herself during the robberies. The East Londoner later became widely known as the Black Widow because her lovers either ended up dead or in prison. Calvey was first convicted of a crime in 1986, where she was sentenced to 7 years in prison for armed robbery. She had been part of a criminal gang in which she had assisted in a series of post office robberies. During the robberies, Calvey and the other gang members sprayed customers and staff with ammonia. During sentencing, the judge commented on the case. "This is an amazingly horrifying case. It must be the worst case ever heard in front of a British court. These robberies were carefully planned and organised. They were skillfully, effectively and ruthlessly carried out." The ex-convict only served half of her sentence and was released in 1989. After Calvey was first released from prison, it was not long before she was back inside again, this time for murder. Just 18 months after being paroled for her armed robbery sentence, Calvey paid criminal associate Daniel Rees £10,000 to kill her lover Ronnie Cook. However, Rees did not go through with the crime, prompting Calvey herself to shoot Cook. The Black Widow shot her lover twice. Despite pleading innocent at her trial, Calvey's footprints were found next to the victim's body, and the jury found her guilty of murder. Charles Bronson, who is considered Britain's most violent criminal, wrote a tribute to Calvey in 1995, saying that she was a true lady, a real East London girl. In more recent years, Calvey has become a successful writer, having written a number of critically acclaimed works of fiction and non-fiction. Her novels include The Locksmith 2021, The Game 2022, and Faith 2024. Linda's non-fiction titles are her autobiographical debut, The Black Widow 2019, and her most recent release, Life Inside, The Hard Reality of Prison and What It Takes to Survive 2024. Her most recent book, Life Inside, is the story of her time behind bars, detailing the systems and rules of prison life, as well as revealing her encounters with notorious criminals such as Charles Bronson, Rose West and Myra Hindley. During her first stint behind bars, she came face to face with Moore's murderer Hindley and slapped her around the face. In an extract from her new book, Calvey said, "I walk into the laundry, someone is singing inside, it's a happy tune. I look over and I see a woman with dark red hair, so unlike the brassy blonde hair in her police mugshot. I see her thin high cheekbones and sallow skin. She's unmistakable. Myra Hindley looks back at me. She stops singing. I keep looking, unable to believe my eyes. I feel a rush of pure anger." A furious Calvey recounted, "You effing BTCH. How can you sing when you've murdered innocent children? Before I can stop myself, my arm propels forward and I slap her face. Myra freezes and puts her hand to her cheek. For a moment, neither of us speak. You'll go back to Holloway for that," she says. Calvey described Hindley's stare as unnerving and very intense, and said that she spent the rest of the day expecting to be taken to the prison governor, but it never happened. Instead, vile killer Hindley continued like nothing had taken place. Calvey was Britain's longest-serving female prisoner. She spent 3.5 years in prison for armed robbery, and then a further 18.5 years for murdering her lover Ronnie Cook. The Black Widow was sentenced to life in prison in 1991 and was not released on parole until 2008.